Hey up guys, what's going on and welcome back to, well, I say York City, but I'm no longer manager. We're 1 year in the future as promised, and we'll see what's happened. I realised I said that was the last time the intro was going to be done in the final actual episode, but that was a lie because of course they're going to be on these. I've also just noticed that Kevin De Bruyne is manager of Atletico Madrid. I did actually see after I finished everything off that De Bruyne was actually manager of Rangers. I'm pretty certain. Yeah, he left Rangers to go to Atletico. He's a really good manager on the motivating and man management front. The knowledge part, not so much. But we're not here for Kevin De Bruyne. We're here for York, and I can see actually a piece of news involving them. This was something I actually set up, so that's not something they did. How could I not set up the transfer of Axel Buchel-Stellwagen, one of the best names? And, well, there's an immediate obvious thing for York here. Their media prediction was still first. They've still finished first. And their new manager, I might have seen this one because it happened quite quickly. I might have seen this go through. There was also a moment where I had to change the save from rolling saves to make sure it didn't keep overwriting itself. Yeah, it's Allegri, who eagle-eyed viewers may have recognised was Bayern Munich manager. Yep, the team that beat us. The team that beat us. That surely can't be his formation. I mean, he's playing Moreno at left back, which he can do perfectly well. I don't know why this has gone over it. Oh, I know what's happened. It's because obviously it's not on my player mode anymore. He's obviously very good at left back, but he's obviously a centre back. I hope he's not been playing there the entire season. He's been utilised as a DM a lot of the time, which is all fair enough if you play in this formation. You also get to get the best out of Tecco in that, who I imagine has had quite a good year. 46 appearances, yes he has. He's bloody good. Also got a new contract, I'm pretty certain. 36 appearances, way more than he's ever done. 12 assists. I'll be sleeping on him, clearly. Does beg the question, though, what's happened to the actual midfielders? Fascinatingly, maybe that Claudel hasn't gone out on loan this year. Or Parkinson. Shaonan did go out on loan, though. That was one I was suspecting might happen. Glad it's not a sale, at the very least. Bellingham's gone on loan. James Grimes is still here. Now, obviously, I've been sat here while this has been simulating all year. There are occasional bits of news that kind of cross my path. James Grimes had a massive offer on him at one point, so he didn't get sold then in the end, despite being once. Oh dear. I think his career might be over at York, that's for certain. I gave him a new contract just before he left, of course, so that's what's probably stopped him from being moved on straight away. Batams I'm concerned for as well. He didn't go out on loan either. One of the York homegrowns. He's not very good. He's not first choice, really, but he is a backup option. One of the York homegrowns. Barwick's gone on loan again, though. He was actually pretty decent now. Seri's played twice. No! What are you doing, Allegri? Not playing midfielders is what he's doing. Vidarsson's done alright because he can do attacking midfielder. Am I blind or can I not see Christophe Broyle? Oh, he's there. He's out on loan. There's not a lot of names missing. It's worth mentioning. There's not a lot of names missing. Gonzalez went on loan to Everton. First choice under me. Carpentier's made 61 appearances. Jesus. Silva didn't go on loan, barely played. Dahl went on loan to Sheffield United. Malinovsky we suspected might have done. Freitas did get a new contract, as did Gazarian. I was worried about those two because they did have... Oh, well, Gazarian I did myself, but Freitas I actually left as a 2034er. He's got a new contract, so they clearly see something in him. Yachenko's played a bit. Harvey's played a surprising amount. And not been sold, most importantly. Although he is listed now as 60 million. Ramirez has played quite a lot. I'm just looking through the list. Cantoro, not as much as you'd think. Although Carpentier wasn't his position on the preview there. Vidal's the main beneficiary of Allegri. That one was pretty much obvious. But Seri and Grimes, I'm worried. I'm very worried. Bean's done very well. Saxton's barely played. Kovalev's played quite a lot, though, so clearly valued. And he's got a new contract as well. 2038, his runs out now. 59 appearances for Tecco all told, though. That's a lot. Parkinson's played quite a lot. 31 appearances. Fiore, yeah, we saw that one coming. Hazard to 53 and Rick as well. He's been used quite a lot too. We'll look at the transfers in a second actually, but I suspect there's not many looking at that. We can see they won the Premier League, but have they won other things? Well, I've scrolled to the bottom. They won the FA Cup. They won the Champions League again against Manchester City. Both times, both of them. Manchester City. Just scroll back. How did the Carabao go? Lost the Carabao Cup. That's still something. Against Manchester City. I mean, domestically, it's a bit boring, isn't it? There is something quite interesting about the Champions League group. Obviously, perennial group stage opponents, Barcelona, one of the three. But Basel, Ben Godfrey went on loan to Basel. I noticed that one. So he ended up playing them. And I noticed this result on the ticker tape as it went past as well. Gazario, one of our players, went on loan to Lyon and then scored against us in the Champions League. I saw that one go past. Had Man City in the Community Shield as well, and they won that though. The one thing I always had a little bit of an issue with, the Community Shield, they dealt with that one relatively easily. Just intrigued actually, under 23s, did they do it again? No, they didn't. Although Gateshead clearly in the League 2 at this point, 23rd prediction wise, but back-to-back promotions for Gateshead. Fans of Gateshead, good news. Weirdly, no friendly. What? There's no friendlies for the under 23s for some reason. I mean, the under 18s is destroying things. There's probably players I'm missing from this list now. Bear in mind, the players in are from my own. Yeah, no one sold at all, which is quite surprising. A lot of loans. Deary me, that's a lot, isn't it? Mick Clark is the one we've got to pay attention to. Of course, they're not going to keep fielding him in their own squads to make a homegrown club status, because that's just something that AI doesn't do. That's a ridiculous amount of loans, looking at it. They've just loaned literally everyone out who isn't playing, opposed to trying to actually get them as homegrown club. But Mick Clark's the one I want to pay attention to. I got him in quite late on from Nottingham Forest. I think he has Irish optional, but he appears to have declared for England. Driven personality, I think he's going to be big. He's going to be the big English talisman going forward for the club. But all of these, except for maybe Gary Eady, I don't think I did that one. Maybe I did. These were all predetermined by me, so there's no transfer news in this first year that isn't mine. Rico Stellwagen is very, very good for 18. I signed him mostly with the name, but he's developed quite nicely. I noticed they were playing Rezai, and for 18 as well, he is pretty good. As a DM too, he's pretty good. He fits right into their system. A few of the non-club contracted players, you can see them there, the two Americans and I think a Polish player actually. Not very good. But a couple of international free agents in that list as well. In fact, actually, technically, Keita and I think Diaby were, well, they weren't free agents, but they were in, Diaby was in whatever nations he's from. Ivory Coast young squad. Also not valued a little bit, so he's got potential still. I think Keita was technically a free agent, but he was in Senegal's younger levels. So we'll see how they get on. I'm particularly intrigued by Mick Clark, of course. That's the main one. Before I go any further, of course, there's one thing I do need to check as well, is who took over as England manager. Rudy Garcia, he was the one that was predicted to take over, and he did. Odd, a little bit, I suppose, 70-year-old. That's ironically what opened up the space for Kevin De Bruyne, which started this whole thing. There's one last piece of news that I did see, and whilst they've had an absolute shocker of a year, Chris Wilder's returned to Sheffield United. He left Arsenal to return to Sheffield United. Wasn't fired, wasn't sacked, left of his own accord to return to Sheffield United. I haven't shown you the actual table, but they finished bottom. Which is surprising because they were in Europe last year. They won the Euro 2 last year. They beat Juventus last year. And then they've been relegated. Tottenham clearly won the Europa League. There's only 2 points though, the lead this year. They did lose 7 times, including to Reading. And a home loss against Leeds. Oof, Derby loss. That's a bit tough. Lost to Everton again at home though. Some things never change. Foreman has had a ridiculous year. Our former player. Christian only had 11 clean sheets. Probably because he played Moreno at left back. In fact, the highest clean sheets for the league is only 12, though. It's quite shocking. It was 20 last year. Norwich not had a great year either. How did they actually get on in Europe? I am intrigued, just very briefly before we move on. Their manager's been sacked. Semi-finals. Good showing then. Weirdly losing to a team they beat. Well, actually, it was 2-1 either way. But a team they had in the group stage, which is the one that knocked them out in the semi-finals. So I'll see you in 4 more years and see how things go. Welcome to 2038, where Massimiliano Allegri is still in charge. He's got to be getting on. At this point, I would imagine he is now 70 years old and bloody good, but still playing with an attacking midfielder and 2 defensive midfielders and no actual central midfielders, which is worrying because I do not see any of my favourites in that midfield. Teko there, I say that, Buko Stellwagen was one of my favourite names of all time. But you can see from the league history, win. First in the Premier Division this year as well. You can see that at the top, so it looks like they're still winning, although they're training in youth facilities, no fully 5-star. Suspect they might get upgraded at some point. Financially doing quite well. Their wage budget has actually gone up since I left. It was about 4 million, although I did bump it up to 4.5 to accommodate renewals by transferring transfer budget. But yeah, their season budget is ridiculous. Sorry, I've just noticed their budget is 300 million. Clearly not spending though, because every single player on that side is a player that I either signed or was a future transfer. Buchel, Stellwagen and Duke Lau were future transfers. Hubbard was coming through the youth side. You might remember him from the Northampton game when we played him then as a youngster. Dahl, of course, now the number 9, the leading striker, apparently. I'm fairly certain Godoy was number 9 when we left, but he's been moved out to the right-hand side as a number 10. Duke Lau, number 22, and Buchel Stellwagen is 21, so I don't think they're necessarily starters. Wayne is number 17 for some reason, and Hubbard 15, so not sure what's going on in his back line. Maybe favour numbers. Kovalev is number 6 despite being a left back. Numbers. Why can't AI why is Christian number 14, not number 1? I suppose we go to the transfer history, do we? So these were the transfer deals I made in my final year. I'm not sure if we did this in the 1 year section now. It's been a while since I recorded. Ryan Buster has left and left the entire game at this point. Bedina we sold to Southampton. Arguesa we sold to Atalanta. We know he's already returned to Liverpool at this point. And Castillo went to Arsenal. He's still there, by the way. He's still there. I've checked. Moena we signed for 99. Bellingham for 49. Mick Clark was the future prospect for us. English player. And a bunch of obviously future prospects coming in as well that particular year. So keep an eye on these names. See if we see them in the squads going forward or being sold. So the year after we left, there are literally no sales. Literally no sales the year after we left, and actually the only incomings are future transfers that have come through. Gary Eady, Rizal, Ogilvie, Derby. I think we did actually look at this actually now because I remember these names coming through. But Garmendia, the big one. 33 million release clause from Bilbao. He's the one I want to pay attention to. I think he might have been the hot prospect on the 1 year stage of things. So that's interesting. So the year after, the fully first automated year after we leave. Oh boy, there have been sales and transfers. So Alois Silva, 31, maybe rising to 46. Cost so far is 46.5, so that all the add-ons have been triggered for whatever reason. 46.5 million for, oh dear, I've just noted James Grimes. 18.25 million for James Grimes. He's now at Chelsea, so he's moved again after this, but he would have been in his prime about 28, 29. That is atrocious. Capacetti going for 9 million to PSG. And Bradley Saxton, the big one. Castillo's still there. Would have re-linked up with Arsenal have paid 62 million for Bradley Saxton when they already have Castillo. They did sell this Rafa Medina, who was a player who was on my radar if we ever lost players. But Castillo's still their number 1. What has happened there? Why did they sign Bradley Saxton? Why did they sign Bradley Saxton when they had Castillo already? And looking at their squad, they got Hidalgo. Once one of our players, of course. Sold him to Everton, I want to say. I actually don't see Bradley Saxton in their side. Patrick Vieira is now their manager, though, which is very fitting. So hang on, where is Bradley Saxton? He's gone back to Man United. Incredibly fitting, at 31 years old, he's gone back to Man United. I suspect he wasn't playing at Arsenal because Castillo was there. Whereas the incomings, a few more of the future transfers coming through. Yannick Schumacher from Basel, Duke Lau from Flu, we just saw him in the first squad, so that's good. Buchel Stellwagen from Mainz coming through as well. And Zuffi from Zurich. There was a whole bunch of Swiss players of the year I left. They were the only players I signed on future transfers. From youth intake poaching with the 2 Swiss players. There was a third one which I missed. I suppose I should just show you Medina as well just to see what they signed. Yeah, very good. Probably more of a DM than a central defender, just by the fact what he pops in as. On 300 grand a week, not really certain. No sales the following year. No purchases the following year, but massive sales. Ramirez for 119 million. In fact, it looks like I'm just looking at the previous years, and it looks like only the next year is the only other year they've bought a player, because it looks like it's just sales in the most recent year gone by. But Gonzalez, 55, maybe 61 to Valencia of all teams. He's very much worth a big team. Yurchenko to Leeds, quite like that. Actually, Seri to Wolves, that's the one. I knew about that one. I knew the value of that one. I didn't know where he went. I did see that one by accident on the rolling news as he was simulating. Quadio left on a free. Never really do. Oh, he did actually develop. That's a great pickup, by the way, for a free agent for Familiar Cow, worth 20 million on 2 grand a week. How the bloody hell they managed that? He was one of those international new gens, so it didn't quite come as good. I actually thought Yurchenko and Quadio were acquired in the same searching session for international new gens. From their scouting reports, I would have thought that would happen the other way around. Quadio was the better scout report than Yurchenko, and yet Yurchenko was the one that came good. Weird how that works out. Harush we signed at the very end, actually, on a free transfer. Only sold for 2 million, worth 29 now. He's at West Ham. They're not done great transfer business on some of these, and then on the other side of things, done great transfer business. It's really weird how the AI's done this, because James Grimes for 18 million is terrible. Ivan Seri for 26 million is terrible, whereas Ramirez for 119 is brilliant. Washington for 21 to Porto, probably about right actually, although 17 tackling at this stage. He's at Dortmund now. Probably his level. I'd say Porto, Dortmund, probably his level. Don't know how good Dortmund are at this stage, but Dortmund's probably his level as a starting defender. But Ivan Seri went to Wolves with 26, now 35 though, of course. Went via Brazil briefly, went back to his homeland. Wasn't the club we got him from. although Palmeiras was the club he originated at, and then was sold to Flamengo for 35 million with a 25 million release clause. So technically we did sell him for 26 million, 1 million more than we signed him for, and with all the years of great service in between, yeah, he was worth way more than 26 though at that point, in my opinion. Physically at 35, quite good really for 35, but now in Spain, finishing off his career in Spain I imagine. I almost don't want to look at the career stats because I know it's going to be heartbreaking. So 2033 was when we left. 0 starts in the league after we left. 0 starts, 0 subs in the league after we left as well. 2 continental appearances, 3 cup subs. Oh, that's so heartbreaking. I didn't see the breakdown. I knew the 2 and 3. Was loaned to Porto the following year, had a great season at Porto. And they were sold towards the 26 million and didn't have a great season. Would have been 30, early 30s at that point. Actually, I've got to be said, maybe at 26 million for an early 30s player. He was 30 when we left, 29, 30 when we left, so that's not terrible. 26 million for a 31, 32-year-old who isn't playing isn't actually bad business. As heartbreaking as it is, it's not bad business. So they actually did sign players the following year. Actually, they signed 1 player, or 2 players. Sander De Bruyne on a free. It's the France thing hitting again. French clubs not being able to pay new contracts to great players. It's the Carpentier situation. Bruyne was on my radar. I'm pretty certain he was scouted by me at one point. He was scouted when he was at PSV, that's for certain, and possibly scouted again when he went to Leipzig. He was on my radar if we ever lost players. He's very strong on his right foot, so probably would have played on the left or as a striker. But I'm pretty certain he had a very big con, which we can't see anymore because obviously we don't see scout reports or anything like that, which was what stopped me from getting him at any point. And then he went to Leipzig and obviously became financially problematic to bring in even if he was a replacement for someone because of that con. But it looks like he moved to Lyon and then they just could not afford his renewal for whatever reason. And then, much like Carpentier at Saint Etienne, has ended up in our squad. Lyon, that's happened to Lyon a couple of times now as well because Hatton went to Barcelona on free as well. And he was bloody brilliant too. But 89 million, speaking of Barcelona, for David Rodriguez. Don't remember him. 29 years old, so probably should. Was there for 8 years. I feel like I should remember David Rodriguez, but I really don't. Clearly playing rotation on that left-hand side in the squad. Of course, we know Bradley Saxton had left at this point, so brought in as his replacement in the long term, I suspect. Moena must have been playing left-back in the interim because he can do that. Although I did just notice that Rodriguez can play left-back and DM, which is perfect for Allegri, I suppose. And on the outbound, I can see Simpara went for money, which is good business. Zabi has gone for money as well. He was one of those players on the inbound on the final year. I was there, so they actually sold one of those players for money. Good. See, future-proofing. I was future-proofing the club with those players. And then 2 sad names. 2 sad names indeed. Vidarson has gone to PSG, joined Capaceti there. I don't know if Capaceti's still there, of course. But Vidarson's gone to PSG as well. Probably not happy playing backup to Vidal, I suspect. Not starting because there's no central midfielders. And Rick's gone to Barcelona as well. The Rafa Medina acquisition probably triggering that one in the end. Another player who can play central defence, even though he's more of a DM, has usurped Rick's position in the squad. And he's been sold finally to Barcelona. He'd been angling for that move, actually, whilst I was still in charge. And then never actually got it. Part of the reason why he was upset. On occasion with me. And then no inbounds on the most recent year gone by, but I can see one sale at the top. Xiaonan to Lyon. It finally happened. Xiaonan to Lyon. In fact, I will just have a look at Vidarson. Vidarson, I feel like, is worth actually checking right now. 46.5 million is ridiculous, though, for Vidarson. Worth mentioning. Great seasons with us. 7.45 in the year that he left us. Still putting in good ratings, even though not playing quite as much under Allegri. And then putting great numbers in for PSG as well. What a player Vidarson is. I brought him £80 million. I brought him in as a backup. It was ridiculous money, but it was the only player that made sense because he was actually a homegrown nation because of Reading. Just a casual reminder that Reading produced Vidarson. I could just see, I just noticed a player there. Jamie Harvey was sold on a free to PSG as well, so they went to the same club in the same year. Oh, that's a real shame, actually. Oh, Patrick Flock, how's he doing? Terribly. What? They have butchered Patrick Flock. I don't know what's happened to Patrick Flock, but he has not done well. He was one of those players I thought was going to be like the star centre-back in the future, with Hubbard, perhaps. I knew Hubbard had the potential, and I was really hoping he would come good because he's English. But Patrick Flock I thought was going to be the one alongside him. Oh dear. What happened there? But we didn't make any profit on Jamie Harvey in the end, which is a shame. But we did make profit technically on Simpara because he was a free agent, so what we lost on Harvey, we've definitely gained on Simpara. And considering he was loaned out every year in between, we didn't actually pay him wages. And the most recent year, Xiaonan finally sold. We figured that one might happen in the end, but 30 million for a then 32-year-old is very good business, actually. I've criticised them on some business, but that's, oh dear lord. 6.68 average? What? Shao, my friend. I mean, decent ratings for a fullback, although he was over 7 pretty much every year he was with us towards the end. Just under 7s in his loan spells. And then what happened, Shao, the most recent year? Maybe Leon just had a shocker. Because that's 29 starting appearances to get a 6.67. There's not even sub-appearances tanking that rating. What happened, my friend? What happened? They're third. It's not even like they even had a bad year. Oh, Cantoro's in their squad. Wait, did I see that sale? Oh, it's a loan. That's why I've not seen it. Oh, yeah, De Bruyne's taken his spot, hasn't he? I think, perhaps. We saw Godoy playing on the right, actually, on the latest match. So perhaps it's Godoy and Bruyne. Although he had a terrible most recent season. Under my last few years, stellar player. And actually continued that a couple of years after, but most recent season not really played. Oh, that's a shame for Cantoro. But I love the fact that Leon's hot prospect is called Cretin, which if you follow me and watch this series through, you know is a very popular word of mine. Brewer left on a free as well. That's a shame. Didn't make any profit on him. Labad went to Tottenham for 42 million. Wait, what happens to Baxter? Oh no, he's still at Tottenham as well. 32 years old, still at Tottenham. Probably still first choice. What? Sorry, why have they signed Labad for 42 million? Actually, no, Labad is their first choice for some reason. Cheers, Pep. Tottenham financing York for all of history, seemingly. They bought Ponce off us for ridiculous money. They bought Baxter off us for ridiculous money. And they bought Labad off us for ridiculous money as well. CU and Barks moved to Leeds for decent money as well. That's homegrown player, homegrown club player, gone through to Leeds now. I think we saw Yachenko get sold to them at some point as well. So that's good business from us on that front. And good business for them. He's worth even more over there. Iono was sold for money. Soltinsky was sold for a tiny bit of money. Basley was sold for money. Scott Parkinson's gone to Norwich for money. And Constant Diaby's gone to Dortmund for money as well. So a lot of those players I brought in. Oh God, we've just skipped one. I've just noticed. I didn't see it when I went through it. Emre Azata's gone to PSG. So he's joined Vidarson and Capricetti perhaps. And Jamie Harvey. Hang on, is PSG just like half ex-York at this point? Malinovsky's on loan there right now. They've got a Shoughton. Nicky Shoughton. Well, I've got to be said, I've not had a Shoughton. Neil Lennon's still PSG manager is the most baffling part of all this. Fans of Football Manager content in general will very much appreciate the fact there is a Shoughton right now. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because it's not my thing. But yeah, okay. None of my former players in the first 11. What's happened here? So Azata's there, Jamie Harvey, Malinovsky, Vidarson. So many players I scouted while I was there. Blimey. Although I think some of them have moved to PSG at this point. The fact that Neil Lennon is still PSG manager is incredible. Mind you, he does enjoy a league in which he can just win things without any trouble whatsoever. So, unsurprising. I suppose we should just check their situation when we left. 1 year in, they'd won everything. Champions League final, third in a row, worth mentioning. I don't think I mentioned that at the time. Allegri, of course, getting his Champions League that he didn't get with Bayern Munich because we beat him to it the year before. The following year was pretty good, actually, all things considered. FA Cup final, there was a knockout. Oh, Allegri lost to Bayern. That's poetic. Who's in charge of Bayern then? Paulo Sousa. What? Sorry, Paulo Sousa is Bayern Munich manager. Yeah, Swansea Leicester. I knew I recognised the name from I could have sworn he was Leicester, but I felt like it was a lot more recent than 2010. Betis, Sporting, Valencia, Roma, Celtic, Lyon, Bayern. That's a bit of a leap. No offence to any of those previous ones, but he's done well with them, in fairness. There's Ramirez. Oh, they've got Del Andrea now. Carabao Cup final. Still not doing great in it. They lost to Man City the year before. 0-0 penalty win. Not convincing, is it? Carabao Cup is a weird... Oh, Shannon did get a testimonial, thanks to being loaned out and not sold until this year. So he did get to... Madeire's returned to it. I don't think... I can't click on it. That's a shame. Can't see who else joined, but Madeire's returned. Where's he ended up? Back in Portugal. Via Madrid. Fair enough. But Vidarson still there at that time. Dahl scored 2. Worth checking on Dahl, actually, because he's their number 9 now. Very good. Very good. Don't think he's better than Godoy. Don't think he's better than Carpentier, who we can check... Oh, wow. If Carpentier has not won world record stuff, he's on world record wages. Jesus Christ, that's Mbappe level wages. He was on about 650 grand by the time he left PSG and retired. Good God, Carpentier is possibly the best player in world football. Worth checking on him next time around as well. But we'll check on the world player of the year because he's got to have been up there, surely. Carabao Cup through, seemingly, and West Brom in the final. Interesting. They did win the FA Cup final against Man United. A lot of Man United that run in. Strasbourg, they've lost to in the Champions League final. Bear in mind Strasbourg beat Man United to a Europa League final, and we played them in the Super Cup, I think, in the final year. I was in charge. So they were on the rise. Strasbourg were going places when we left, and they have gone to the very top of Europe by winning the Champions League against the best club in Europe. No doubt about that. York were the best club in Europe when I left. And I've just noticed the goal scorer. Eagle Eye viewers will recognise that name because I did mention him quite a lot in the final year because he was banging them in for our affiliate club Groningen. Gil Freitas is still a York player. That's not even a sale. He was on loan to Strasbourg. I can only presume. He was. Look at the ratings, by the way, for this lad. He is 40 goals in 57 from Marseille. 19 in 36 for Strasbourg, 2 of them in Champions League final. 19 in 34 for Roma. Strasbourg before that didn't do particularly well, but Groningen was the one. 30 and 40. That's the season we left. That's the one I kept mentioning. 550k from Vizela. I think he was a youth poach. 6.73 in that year, despite not actually scoring that many. Ridiculous. And then 40 in 57 for Marseille, the most recent year. But most importantly, winning Strasbourg a Champions League against his parent club. How is that allowed? Well, he's not endeared himself to the York fans, that's for certain. West Brom in the Community Shield, of course, they were runners-up in the FA Cup, so that's probably part of the reason there. Oh dear God, Luton beaten... What? We'll move on. Carabao Cup exit to Luton. Everything else seemed really going quite well, though. FA Cup, still in that. Bit of patchy form in here. Losing to Bayern again. Bayern have become the bogey team, ironically. Paulo Sousa is now Allegri's nemesis at Bayern Munich. How has this happened? I was Allegri's, seemingly, until the very end, and now Allegri's gone to York, and now Bayern Munich's their nemesis. The roles have reversed. Norwich still the domestic nemesis, seemingly. Wow. And Club World Championship happening. I'll see how that's panned off. Tottenham. Oh dear. 91st minute. Oh, it's happened again. 91st minute knockout in the Club World Championship. It's happened again. Not in the final, though. It's happened again. 91st minute. Why does this keep happening in the Club World Championship? Tottenham are now knocked us out of every major tournament, by the way. Europa League, Champions League, and now Club World Championship. They've done the trifecta. Strasbourg beaten in the third place playoff. At least there's some comeback. Bielefeld Sacramento at Strasbourg. That's a name we recognise. They signed a Johnny Harvey at some point out of York. That's quite a rotated side, though. Antonio Basile, Garmendia, Gazarian on the penalty list. Davila had a testimonial for Liverpool, and they picked York as the opponent. Nice. Fighters on the right side of the score sheet there. And the most recent season, everything seems to be going quite... Wow, this is actually... If it wasn't for that Arsenal loss there, this is unbeaten. Bar that Arsenal loss. Tottenham loss has ruined that even further, though. And a Liverpool loss on the final day. This looks like a very good season. A lot of draws, though, so I don't think it's breaking 100 points. FA Cup quarter-final. 6-1 against West Brom. Nice. Barcelona. Oh, looks like Barcelona have knocked us out of the Champions League. Now, I keep saying us as if I'm still in charge. Couple more Premier League losses, though. And yeah, definitely not breaking that one, although they have won it and won the FA Cup final as well. So points-wise, I've just clicked on season preview by action. I've seen that Wolves have usurped Arsenal. So the season we left, 105 points, smashed it. Following year, we looked at this one, just squeaked it against Man City. 89 points the following year, 7 losses to win the title is quite a lot. 89 points, 3 losses the following year, 91 points, doing better. West Brom was second. What? What's going on at West Brom here? They've got Foreman and Sibbald. Sibbald's gone to West Brom. He's 34, but still bloody brilliant now. I mean, he moved a few years ago, actually. So he would have been, 31? Still on the tail end of his prime when he left Man United. What's happened here? 35 million. That's an excellent deal. It's not like they're rolling in money either. Interesting formation from them. Venturelli's in their squad as well. Man United player, formerly. Which one? Avio, not the Norwich one. They were second. And then 6th in the most recent year, so still getting European football. Might even got European football with the 7th. Hang on. I've just overlooked West Brom in general. 5th, 7th, 2nd, what? Hang on. I need to go back. I was only looking at the top. They were 5th in the year after we left with 75 points. Nearly got Champions League football that year. Thank 1 goal difference made the difference there. This has become the West Brom check. Oh, Leeds went down that year. West Brom did get EC2. Mind you, that's EC2 with European football the previous year. So that's good going because normally that tanks the Premier League ratings. And then 2nd the year after that with European football still being played. And then 6th the year after that with Champions League football. Tottenham getting EC2 from 10th, won the Carabao, clearly. And then 6th the most recent year as well. So West Brom have become a foot. Despite the fact that Wolves are predicted 6th, West Brom are the ones actually doing the business. Impressive. Chelsea have just collapsed. Leeds back in the Premier League and ending up 8th again. They've just done it twice now. What is going on at West Brom here? What is going on at West Brom? So World Footballers of the Year, just quickly checking. No Carpentier. Right, okay. Clemente at 34, still raking these in. Parisi at Real Madrid, 2nd. Bont, Rosie, Parisi again. Oscar Diaz he was a great player, just never really went anywhere beyond Madrid. Carpentier did get 3rd the year after we left, so I'm not sure when these awards get revealed, because it's the 1st of January, isn't it? It's not the 31st of December, so I think, see, we're in 2038 now. No, so, okay then. So that's the year after we left. So the year after we left, Carpentier got 3rd. Christian also got goalkeeper the year after we left as well. Presume he's been in the running since. Hidalgo actually won goalkeeper of the year, I didn't even notice that, for Real Madrid. Christian not even in the running. That year, third. Not even in the running year after that, and not even in the running year after that. Golden Ball. Carpentier did get Golden Ball, so says a lot there. Oh, he was World Player of the Year, but not Footballer of the Year that year. Somehow that happened. No one else sneaking in on any of those. So in all seasons for World Team of the Year, we have 3 at the back line. Moena, Azatu and Bean. Nice. Nice to see that. The fact he's actually still in the Yorkshire here, I appreciate. Harry Kane for Liverpool is a bizarre situation on the front there. He's an icon for them, by the way. Really weird. But the most recent Team of the Year has been at right back, and that is it. Carpentier is on the bench with a 7.6. Meanwhile, Carl Robinson's in the squad with a 7.0. Work that one out. There's a new Thiago as well. Season before, Bean there, Azata there, still in the York colours. Tony McGee, still playing, 34 now. But don't think I haven't seen the other front. West Brom. I don't know what's going on with these appearances, by the way. But West Brom have a player in Team of the Year. Godoy in that year as well, the year before that. Kovalev in a Team of the Year with Christian and Carpentier as well. Nice going there. Pakistan, ironically, the backup with 6.85 as an average rating. Goalkeepers. Moraine on the bench, Ramirez on the bench, still at York at that point. Castor's gone to City at some point. The Lit finished his career at Valencia. He returned to Ajax and then finished his career at Valencia. That's the wrong way around. I still don't know why Chelsea ever sold him, to be honest. And the Team of the Year, the year in which we finished, when our sort of front three were just banging them in for fun, Vidarson in that squad, Carpentier on the bench as well, Godoy at the front of that. I'm still very surprised that Gonzalez never got anywhere. The fact that Gonzalez went to Valencia and not like a top tier team, crazy. Because he was sort of banging them. Until the Club World Championship at the very end, he was sensational in that final year for us. It was crazy that he never made it at a bigger club. But if there's anything I've missed, let me know. And I'm going to leave that there. So thank you for joining me. We'll be back in 5 more years when 10 years is on the cards. I'll see you for that. Until then, ta-ra.